Hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of the Great Big Plugin Show. I'm Puremix. Joining us today is the one and only Ken Lewis. Ken, his discography is unbelievable. He is known for having one of the most diverse resumes in the music industry, with 114 gold records, 19 of those being Grammy winners, 57 Grammy nominations, 75 Billboard number ones. He's worked with Taylor Swift, Kanye West, BTS, Drake, Bruno Mars, Eminem, Alicia Keys, J. Cole, and the list goes on and on for another few days or so. So we're going to spare everybody of that, but it's absolutely amazing to have Ken on today. And welcome to the show, Ken. How you doing?
Thanks for having me back. I appreciate it. How's everybody doing out in Puremix land and plugin land? I'm ready for you today. Woo.
Awesome. Cool, guys. Sorry, we're a little bit behind today, a couple minutes late. We working out a few things. We have a huge setup thing going on today because Ken also hosts something called Mixing Night Audio on YouTube. It's a show that you guys have been doing since the pandemic, right?
Yeah, the beginning of lockdown is when we started Mixing Night.
Yeah, amazing. How many episodes are you guys in now? You're getting up.
We are officially Mixing Night. I think we just did our 65th, but it started out as Q&A with Ken, and I think we're on our 79th or 80th broadcast at this point. Yeah. So yeah, we do 2 hours first Wednesday of every month, except next broadcast is February 14th, Valentine's Day, 8 to 10 p.m. Eastern, youtube.com/mixing night. Set your alerts now.
Set your alerts. Yeah, something to do with your date.
Yeah, exactly. We're going to be in the studio. Spend it with us. It's going to be a good time.
That's awesome. That's great. Okay. So guys, do let us know if you have any audio things. Let us know in the chat if anything is kind of crazy. We're moving through it pretty quick here today, so bear with us. But we're here to talk about the amazing LOLCOMP today from Mixing That Audio, which is a plugin that you designed.
Yes, with help. Me and Dominic Ravinius did the audio behind it, and then we have a small team here at Mixing Night Audio that helped put it all together with the coding and the graphics. But from a audio perspective, what we all really care about, it's 5 of my chains under the hood. I don't know if we can bring one up here. There you go.
Yeah. Let me show them. I've got the website pulled up now, and Ken can't see this, but I've got the site pulled up, and they can see the interface on there.
Picking guitars. The Peacock chain is like my pretty chain, soft, minimal compression, and it kind of brightens things up as you push into it, and then also fattens it up as you get to the top of the dial. And then the Dragon chain is my distortion chain, and it goes from really mild saturation that sounds amazing on a vocal to like really heavy destructo, get any kind of a sound that you can destroy out of it. And then the drop down section, the parallel section, we have the LMAO section. You see, we all have a sense of humor here. Levitate is tilt. So tilt basically is like if you don't know what tilt is, say this is 20K and this is 20 hertz and this is 1K. The tilt is just going to on an axis and make everything above the tilt brighter. So 20K is going to be most emphasized and 20 hertz is going to be most de-emphasized, or vice versa. So you're kind of just like taking a graphic EQ and Xing it in one direction or another. That's kind of what Levitate does. Mash is a last stage limiter that kind of gives you one more extra push if you need it. Awaken has 2 bands, lavender and haze, which is like what is it, an exciter? Yeah. So lavender is like a mid-band exciter. I use it on like vocals and snares and guitars a lot. And haze is like an air band to just crisp up anything that you need that tip top on. Air band will get it for you. And Easter egg, if you don't know some of my history, we named it Lavender Haze because me and Dom, the two guys that mainly designed the audio behind the plugin, both worked on Lavender Haze. So it's a little Easter egg for you. We didn't just rip it off from Taylor Hayes. It's actually on our credit list. And Oxidate is 5 of my reverbs. I basically kind of very carefully went through and tried to pick what were the most usable reverbs in a day-to-day setting. And Oxidate allows you to just pick one of those 5 and then dial in a little bit more or a little bit less really easily and see if it works. And a lot of times it saves you the kind of the headache and the hassle of going like, okay, I think I need a reverb on this. Let me pull up this plugin and try this. And nah, let me pull up that plugin and try that. Like LOLCOMP puts everything under the hood. I designed this thing super selfishly to replace at least 10 other plugins that I used all the time. And often I'd use 3 or 4 of them in series because each of these chains has a lot going on under the hood. It's not just compression. There's a lot of other things, and the ratios and attack and release times change as you push into it. It's a crafty little beast. But I really tried to put everything that I wanted under the hood creatively and control-wise so that I could get rid of a lot of those other processes. But just like what happened with Greenhouse when we built that plugin, when you put all of this functionality in one place where you can look at everything at one time in real time and everything affects each other within that one interface, the results that you can get are so much better than having to go this plugin to that one, to that one, to that one to try and get the same result. So when we finished this thing, it was just mind blowing. Some of the things this can do, from the vocal compressor on Planet Earth to great drum compression, super easy, super fast. It's like my cheat code now. So
amazing. Awesome. Let's hear this thing. So to do that, I'm going to have you share your screen with me.
All right. I share screen. I share Pro Tools. Boom. Oh, do I need to include sound?
I believe I have listened to going. So we'll test and make sure it's cool and everybody's happy in the chat, and then we'll get moving.
I'm gonna feed a little bit of audio, make sure it's coming.
Cool. I'm getting it on my end. Mute that.
Okay, I'm all set here. So what I did for you guys today, I've kind of set up 2 different ways to show you LOLCOMP. I'm going to show you some individual instrumentation, which is one of the main ways that we built the sound design of this. Let me do that first because I think that is really eye-opening for some of the things this thing can do. Here's something amazing. So fire those up. Okay, so I have just a simple guitar playing.
So Ken, that one's not coming to us. So right now we have listen to on the mix bus. So if it's not going through the mix bus, we won't get it. You could put that back on the master if you want to. That was part of our tech change up. So. Okay. And then you may need to restart that stream. Cool. I think I'm going to get it now. I think we're good.
So this is the guitar and bypass, super clean, nothing much to it. My favorite mind-blowing thing is to start with the Dragon chain. When we heard this on this, I just couldn't believe it. I built it as a tool, and it became as much of a creative tool as a technical tool for me.
Yeah.
And for a good sense of humor, it's really fun to look at too. So,
Oh my gosh, it's hilarious. This is great.
Up my shoes. I've been looking at gear for 32 years professionally. I've seen all the gear. So I don't need to see another modeled piece of gear in front of me looking like a plug-in ever again. And
Right.
you know, our mentality with this was let's just design something super fun, and you're either gonna absolutely love it or hate it. And I love it. And so far, everybody I've had in my room that I have it up in front of clients and I don't even think about it. And they look at it, they're like, "What is that?" I'm like, "Oh, that's fun." So,
I made that. Yeah. I wanted to look at something more fun than a bunch of dials. Another 1176.
record, but
Yeah.
it's good.
It's amazing. Yeah, so people love the interface in the chat. Cool. So you just got a ton of sounds out of one guitar with that. That was incredible.
Yes.
And very quickly, you're able to kind of audition things. And I could even see, in a production thing, just as you're going through, it's like, oh, there's your intro sound. Oh, there's your chorus sound.
And everything's automatable, of course, so you can use that just like it reacts very similarly to like pulling a guitar volume knob down and back up. That's kind of the sound that we started on, is like volume knob down, then you push into the amp just like you would a normal amp. It's really weird how it reacts like that, and
Yeah.
great on like vocals. If you let me find a vocal so I can show you guys some vocal tricks, because with distortion plugins, having a wet dry that works well is kind of a crucial element to dialing in super dope vocals. Let me find one. What's this?
You've seen everything from Saturn to Mars, as much as it seems like you own my heart. It's astronomy, we're two worlds apart. We've traveled the seas, we've ridden the stars, we've seen everything from Saturn to Mars.
So instantly a room rumble going on, and the weight of the vocal is too heavy, and that levitate exists. A lot of times the first thing that you think when you get a vocal and you're like, oh, it's a little dark, and it's kind of muddy, and everybody goes like, oh, let me get an EQ and brighten that up, and let me get an EQ and pull some bass out. And I go like, I don't need to touch an EQ, let me just levitate it a little bit. So I put levitate on pre, so that it works before the lull compression, and I just dial a little bit to the right, so it makes the entire axis a little bit brighter above 1K, with the emphasis most at the top, and a little bit reduced to the bottom. And that helps even out the entire EQ range of your vocal. If the microphone was a better microphone, it would have given you that in the first place. So this is basically correcting for, not the greatest microphone. And then it makes the compression work much more efficiently, because low end tends to drive compression much harder than high end. So if your vocal starts out with too much muddiness, the first thing you should do is get rid of a little bit of that, so that it doesn't push into the compression and make all of that react, and then you've got to remove it. So I'm gonna filter out some low end on the way in, then I'm gonna tilt it.
We've traveled the seas, we've ridden the stars, we've seen everything from Saturn to Mars. As much as it seems like you own my heart, it's astronomy. We've traveled the seas, we've ridden the stars, we've seen everything from Saturn to Mars.
Real easily.
We've traveled the seas, we've ridden the stars, we've seen everything from Saturn to Mars. As much as it seems like you.
The only other things I'm going to try is maybe a little bit of Awaken, and then I'll oxidate it and see what I get.
We've traveled the seas, we've ridden the stars, we've seen everything from Saturn to Mars. As much as it seems like you own my heart, it's astronomy, we're two worlds apart. We've traveled the seas, we've ridden the stars, we've seen everything from Saturn to Mars. As much as it seems like you own my heart, it's astronomy, we're two worlds apart.
Even leveled out, perfectly compressed lead vocal. And I mean, I could have dialed that in 15 seconds if I wasn't trying to show you guys what I'm doing. And you don't even have to think about it. It's just like, oh, it's a little bit tubby. Let me level it. Okay, that's better. Okay, let me push a little bit into the smiley compression. That's my vocal. Okay, does it need a little bit more presence, or does it need a little bit more air? Let's try some oxidate and see if any of them enhance it. If not, you can always go to another plugin, your favorite outboard reverb, and use that. But one of the keys obviously is putting it mono to stereo so that you can get the stereo reverb on a mono lead vocal track. So there you go.
That's amazing. Awesome. It's so fast to just audition sounds and everything. That's great. Yeah.
Yeah. Really, and the presets, we included a ton of presets on it, and basically the presets were, we had this thing building for like 6 months of different versions and variations before we put it out. And when we put it out, we just went through and harvested all of my presets from all of my sessions that I had been using it to mix on, and named it. So if I used it on a bass guitar, it was KL bass guitar, heavy compression or whatever. So it kind of tells you what was I using it on, and a description of whatever that sound was. You can always try that first, or you can always go like, oh, I wonder what a heavy bass compression would sound like on a lead vocal, because that's the way my brain tends to think. So
that's amazing. Awesome. Yeah.
Like, my philosophy on presets is, presets are a great place to start listening without looking at the name of the preset. And you can just scroll presets until the magic thing goes like, oh, wow, that's incredible. I never would have thought about doing that, and that sounds amazing on whatever I'm trying it on. That's how I use presets and tap into presets. But I think if you're just learning and just starting out, it's not the worst thing to look at presets and see what kind of settings that they've got going on, because obviously that they got cooked up from something. But the idea that, oh, I have a kick drum here, let me go to the kick drum preset, that's not the way anybody does it, and neither should you.
Right. Yeah. Awesome. Cool. What else do you have in the session here?
So I have a sync group that I am a part of. Me and Michael Moss are the artists Obscene Stealers. So Obscene Stealers does music for like sync TV, video games, movies, that kind of stuff. And we recently put out a song called Losing Game. And so we put out Losing Game before I had LOLCOMP. So I originally did this entire mix with all of my other plugins. And when we first put out LOLCOMP, I was like, I wonder if I can match that mix using only LOLCOMP and maybe one other thing. So as I dug into it, it turns out I matched the entire mix virtually perfectly, only using LOLCOMP. And if you can see my screen, here's I'm using 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Where is it? Something like 29 instances of LOLCOMP on this mix, nothing else. Even the auxes are pushing into LOLCOMP reverbs, which you necessarily shouldn't do, but for this, I decided to, I don't think the reverbs are best used on auxes, more on inserts, but you can. But anyway, then I took, where is it?
Is there any particular reason for that?
I wanted to see how much of a beast this plugin actually was. Like, could I do an entire mix, start to finish, at the same quality that I used all of my other plugins, no EQs, no nothing else, only LOLCOMP, and match the mix. And at first it started out as a vanity. I was like, I didn't think I could actually do that. And then I did. I was like, well, here we go. We're onto something here. So I wanted to do you guys just a quick A/B before I dissect anything. I have the Stereo Master. I guess you guys can see it here. I have the original and the Stereo Master. Where are they? There we go. And so when I'll start on the original, which is the final mastered released mix. And then when I go to so that's starting on original. When I go to mix bus, that is the full Pro Tools live mix bus with all of these tracks. It's a 39 stereo and mono tracks. Looks like all stereo. So about 78 voices, 76 voices. And match perfectly with LOLCOMP. So let's give it a listen here. Wait. Starting on the original, and then I'll switch to the mix bus. You'll see it switch right here, and you'll hear it.
What she's dealing, don't know why you spin me round. Say you're confused, who you should choose. Go ahead and count me out. I won't be your friend to clear your conscience. Lay in your bed and feel the blame. I know how this ends, know how the rules bend, and you're the king of saving face. Know you're keeping what she's dealing. Don't know why you.
Little gadget we have here. Let me dig into some specifics. Does anybody have any questions about usages? I pretty much designed this to be very functional on almost anything.
Yeah, not so far. But guys, definitely in the chat, if you have a question, put it in there, and we'll answer any questions after Ken does some demos here.
Yeah, and I have a bunch of individual examples on, like, I can pull up drum loops, bass lines, pizzicato strings, vocals, whatever you guys want if you need to see anything. But right now I'm going to show you guys on, let's see. Okay, here's one of my favorite kick tricks. So I got 2 instances of LOLCOMP. I'm going to put them both up so you see what I'm doing. Boom. First one, second one. You see right off the gate, levitate post. So I'm taking the high attack of the kick and I'm moving it down, and I'm taking all of the bottom weight of the kick and I'm fattening it up just with a tilt. And then I'm mashing it a little bit. I'm not really doing any compression on the lull chain, but it's on punch. And then I'm putting a little bit of late stage limiter on it. And then I'm adding snap back with lavender awaken. So I'm making it heavy, and then I'm adding punch in the mid-range back with awaken. Here's where we start. So then I was like, well, that was so effective. I wonder what would happen if I did it again. So I went into a second chain, not quite as heavy. Again, tilting left, so I'm adding just a little bit more bottom end weight to it, and I'm awakening on the lavender to give it a little bit more of that mid-range attack that the kick needs to sit right into the mix. So I will bypass both of these and then add them back in the full mix, and you'll hear the weight of the kick all come back. I kind of think outside the box as a mixer. A lot of the techniques and things that I use came from either me just really figuring out like, okay, this is what I have, this is what I want it to sound like. What on earth do I think I need to get it there? And when I just keep asking myself those questions of like, okay, what do I envision it to sound like? And then what tools or what tool do I need to make that easiest? That's kind of how I think in plugin land. And there's kind of two approaches to plugins for me. There's I grab a plugin knowing exactly what I want that thing to do. I hear it in my head before I slap it on there, and it says, bump, 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 bump. That's it. I might, that doesn't mean that it's going to sound exactly like what you envision, but that's, you dial it into taste. And then there's like, okay, this sound is boring. I need to liven it up a little bit. I need to fish a little bit. So LOLCOMP is great for kind of fishing those ideas. But scrolling presets on any plugin is kind of good for that. If you can say, I know this isn't it. I don't know what it can be, but let me sit here for a while and just listen to different options of, scroll preset. I'm not even looking at the preset names. I'm just listening and, write anything down that catches you in the moment so that you can go back and maybe try 10 of your favorites right in a row. And then you can go like, oh, okay, well, I like these two. And then I'm going to go with this one. And also that's how you build new presets and things that you love that you will go back to again and again in future mixes. And that's the way you learn your plugins better and what they sound like and how you can really get more out of them just by listening, scrolling through and kind of listening to see what does this do? And oh, I like this. This connects with me. I'm going to use it like this. And it may be a one-trick pony. There's some plugins that I only use for one specific task, and that's the only reason I grab that plugin. But every time I need that task, that gets it. And there's stuff like I build that's just like, I know this is going to sound great on a lot of stuff and make my life easy. So there you go.
Awesome. Very nice. There's a question from Eric Corvo who's asking if you have a suggestion for a starting point.
A starting point for
I guess once you pull up LOLCOMP, sort of you kind of covered this at the beginning, but how you would kind of go through and approach where you start. Is it different on every different source, or is there sort of a journey to follow inside of the interface?
So with LOLCOMP, it's super easy because I put my 5 chains up here. So the LOL chain, the first one is always a great place to start. I really dialed it in to be my vocal chain, but that also sounds great on a whole bunch of other things, pads and guitars and keys and pianos and all sorts of things. And the punch chain sounds pretty similar to LOL, but it's got a slower attack and works better on drums. So if you want to flatten things out a little bit more, the LOL chain is. The punch chain will give you will keep your transients, but here's where I start with it. If I didn't know what I was doing with LOLCOMP, I would put it on, I would push into it until I get enough deflection. I can hear like, okay, it's compressing nicely, but it's not pumping or anything. And then I would just audition each different chain in real time and listen and see what I get. And you're going to get slightly to drastically different results. And then you can drop down here and be like, brighter, darker, thinner, fatter. Oh, okay. Oh, that's more even. Okay. Do I want more presence? Do I want more air? What? And this plugin is designed to be unabashedly playful and just dial it in until you go like, oh, whoa, oh, that sounds great. Never would have thought of that. Cool. All right, next track. And you see like there's no numbers and values and ratios. That's completely on purpose. This is gamified so that you get out of your you know, your technical headspace of, oh, I've got to do this with this plugin. Like, no, just mix with your ears and, you know, enjoy it and just dial it in until something really resonates with you. And if you like it, that is where the bar is set. You know, there is no right and wrong in creative land. There is only what you want people to hear. And that can change during the course of a mix anytime. You know, you can listen to something some way and wake up the next day and go like, nah, too much distortion. Let me pull that back up and dial it back. That better. Okay. You know, we have so many choices nowadays.
Yeah, and the whole flow of it is to just be creative and have fun and turn until it sounds good. That's awesome. The person that was asking for a starting point clarified for a tracking a vocal. So while you're tracking a vocal, can this be used?
Okay, I showed this on mixing night in at length, the January 10, 2024 show that we just did last Wednesday. So anybody who needs vocal help, go catch the restream of the mixing night January.
Oh, it looks like we lost Ken potentially here. So let me come on and talk to you. Cool. So let me see what's happening with Ken over there. Why he got disconnected. Oh, he's back. Awesome. Okay, hold on. Let me get you back on here. Okay, and let's see. I think I lost your microphone.
You got me?
Yeah, there we go.
Check.
Perfect. Okay, sorry. So picking up January 10th, vocal night, mixing night audio on YouTube.
Right. So I dropped like 2 hours of vocal gems for mixing night on January 10th. And I dropped what I'm about to show you as well. So when I have an artist in and I'm producing, recording their vocals, I recorded everybody under the sun. I have C800G, it's a tube mic, goes into a tube mic pre, a Groove Tubes Viper into a tube compressor, a thermionic culture, the Phoenix Very mu compressor, into a Cush Clariphonic, one of the originals, to open up the top end a little bit, and then into converters. And that chain, once it's set, I don't touch it, I don't think about it. It's there, it does its thing. And what I feed to the artist is I will bring them into an aux track on, or a record track on Pro Tools. And I'll keep it in input so I can hear it. Let me just create one from scratch so I can show you the whole process. Let me do this. So here's my record track. Let's see it. And then, so I'm going to set my input to whatever the end of my mic chain is. And, you know, you'll get your levels and all. You're coming in mono, but you're going to put LOLCOMP in mono to stereo. And that is so that you can get the stereo reverb on Oxidate if you want it. So this is the only plugin that you're going to need. Here are the keys. If you push up to about halfway on the LOL chain.
I'm sorry, I love the face.
Great.
It's so
That's
good.
talent. You don't know how much fun we had designing this plugin. It was just an app. So I tend to set Smiley at about noon, and then you can't see it now because I don't have the mic active, but the mic would be coming in and I push the input fader up until I have good deflection on the gain reduction. I want a lot of gain reduction when I'm shouting, and I want just a tiny little bit of gain reduction when I'm talking very quietly. I still want it to flicker just a little bit even when I'm this quiet. And then when you have it set to that range, the only way to do that is with the input and the Smiley. Then you can back off the output because it's going to start getting a little bit loud. And you can mash it. I usually mash it about halfway. And right about this time, you're going to have almost no dynamic range on the mic. A scream is going to sound volume-wise in the headphones nearly the same volume as a whisper. But a whisper will still sound like a whisper. It'll just be loud. So then you can add some reverb. I love 1 and 4 are great for longer carry reverbs, and 2 and 3 are great for like shorter if you just want to put them in a little bit of space. And you can go a little bit more or a little bit less. Super easy to dial in the reverb. And I use these constantly. One of the surprises of LOLCOMP was how much I use the oxidate. So a bit of reverb in the headphones, and then I set my output just to a good listening volume, and that's it. If you need to levitate it a little bit, if it's a little heavy, you can levitate it and take some of the weight off. But usually this right here is my vocal tracking setting. It is a total game changer. I have had so many people come back to me and go, I can't even believe what my artist said about the session. And Eric Iverson just sent me a text the other day. He sent me a text before a session. He's like, can you help me dial in the lull settings before my vocal? And I helped him. And then afterwards, he sent me a text. He's like, bro, the artist booked another session immediately after this and said he'd never sounded so good. So, you know, getting an artist to sound amazing in their headphones is a total game changer. And it, especially when you set it up like this, where you're really reducing the dynamic range to nothing, but it still sounds great, they can work the microphone as an artist in ways they never could before. When they can belt out a note and not blow their hearing out, or they can be whisper quiet and still hear every inflection in their voice while they're performing in real time, and they have a great sounding rough mix in the headphones, and everything sounds like a record, and they just sound perfect right here, that inspires a great vocal performance. And you're not going to get a great vocal performance without a great headphone mix. So all of these things are interconnected. And this is, you know, one of the reasons I built this was so that I could do this quickly without using 3 different plugins. And there's no, you would think with a reverb tank there would be latency. There's no latency on it. It's like a couple hundred samples. It's ridiculous. And it's super light on DSP, so you can load up your whole session with them. But that is my vocal setting. And when you try it, you can try a 14-day trial of LOLCOMP for free. It's fully working. It doesn't like, you know, zonk out every 30 seconds or anything. It's fully working. And you can try it for yourself and set it up exactly with these settings. The only thing that you really need to adjust is the in and the out to get the amount of reduction that you want, but keep the lull and the mash where it is, and you won't believe the results, and neither will your artist. So that's how I do
Awesome.
vocals.
Cool. What a cool use case. Okay, I have a random question for you. What is the smiley face next to the power button in the upper left? Uh-oh, he froze again. Apparently the smiley face button is an internet bypass switch. Let's see if he comes back here. Okay.
During
Oh,
the
there you are.
design.
Sorry, we lost you for just a second there. Yeah. So we didn't hear anything about that. Okay.
So this bypasses the lull chain.
Okay.
And it gives you access to only the LMAO dropdown by itself. And this was, when we designed this plugin, we originally didn't even have this section to it. We only had the lull section and the 5 chains. And Dominic and I were talking, and we were like, you know, what would it take to add a couple more modules down there? And we got to thinking, and we spitballed this, and it's the most powerful tone shaper. So again, levitate is tilt, mash is limit, awaken is a mid-band exciter, lavender, and a airband exciter haze. And me and Dom worked on Taylor Swift Lavender Haze, if you're just tuning in. So we're not ripping her off. We actually were a part of that. And oxidate is 5 of my most usable reverb choices under the hood, if you're just tuning in.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Amazing.
this is and it's great. So
That's great. Yeah. So you can use just the bottom section basically, and that's great. Awesome.
it's like two.
And I love the sleeping emoji when you go to bypass is great.
I love it.
Yeah, it
Yeah,
definitely keeps you in a good mood while you're working.
like that is so underrated.
Yeah.
Most of my life in a studio, making music and staring at a screen too much and listening to speakers, and you want things to, keep you engaged and interested and, laughing. And I always say the best creative sessions when you have people in the room are the ones where everybody was laughing the most. Those always tend to be the best songs. And
Yeah.
it's just amazing how creativity and just feeling great and in the moment go together. And
Right.
so at
Yeah.
least for me.
Awesome. Okay. So one other question here. We might have had your screen freeze on us. I'm not sure if that's going on here. Yeah, I lost your video feed. We still have you connected though. So I'll just ask you the next question here. Can you use this as a mastering chain? That's from Nolan Monagold. Thanks for your question, Nolan.
Usually I don't. We're building our next plugin, I think, is going to be a pretty awesome mastering chain among many other things. In heavy design mode right now with that. But LOLCOMP, I have found certain use cases where it sounds amazing on the mix bus. But certainly the smiley chain is too aggressive. I tend to lean towards punch chain or very mild panda. Or if you put it first in your chain and you're not really hitting the mix bus very hard, drag and saturation can be amazing. This is like, and again, if you are hitting drag a little bit too hard, you can just back off input and push up output, and it's gonna, just like feeding into a guitar amp, it's gonna reduce the amount of saturation happening. It's gonna clean up your signal, but it's still gonna give it a little bit of that soak. And you heard what it did to a clean guitar. So if you can find the sweet spots, I found actually dragging on the mix bus as your first can be really incredible.
That's
But
amazing. Awesome.
yeah,
Yeah.
this is too aggressive for mix bus overall.
Sure.
It's mostly designed for almost anything else.
Yeah. That's great. Cool. Can we maybe hear a little bit of the track and then maybe pull up some plugins as it goes down? And then guys, if you have any questions left, people are laughing about the dragon in the chat. If you guys come up with any questions, let us know in the chat and we'll hit them before we get out of here.
I'm just gonna loop a section and I'm gonna pull up different sounds that are going through and A/B with and without. And then
Great.
anybody who's, you all just lose me again.
We lost your video. Yeah. Yep.
Oh, come on.
So.
Oh.
But I can go full screen Pro Tools if you want.
Go full screen Pro Tools for now. I don't know why it's not restart, but
cool.
Start video. Do it. Anyway, I'll just loop the screen and start working.
Cool.
Hear how big and thick that is?
That's incredible. Yeah.
Panda pushes into saturation. So it starts off a pretty clean chain, but if you want that instant buzzy 808, just slap Panda on it and just go like that, and you're going to have that instant mid-rangey cutting 808, and it's still going to have that real solid big bottom that you need. Dragon really reacts to how much level you feed into it, just like a guitar amp does. And you can see I can completely change how the sound of this synth sounds into the distortion just by how I adjust the input and output and how much I feed into it. But even on its most drastic setting where it should be super gnarly, I can make it sound really nice and usable. See, the options are just endless with this stuff.
Second place, second place. Hey, hey, throw away your winning hand in the losing game. Losing game. Hey, hey, wanna play? I won't stay for second place. Second place. Hey, hey, throw away your win. The losing game.
Evens out vocals so easily. So there's a bunch of things going on under the hood as you dial into it. There's a couple compression stages, and I basically got the to mimic my vocal chain really spot on, and it's like the cheat code. I really built LOLCOMP so that people who didn't know how to mix could get super great results fast without thinking about it much, but people like me could also get super fast, amazing results. And it's all there, baby.
Yeah. So, question from SR1B, and this is a fun one. I've talked about this on the show a little bit with some other. We call them cartoon plugins on there. So, like Jesse Ray Ernster has one called Steamland, for example. That's very like steampunk. There's like a blimp that floats, and you're turning valves to get different sounds and all of that. SR1B is asking, do you feel that this cartoon type of plugin is well received amongst professionals?
Surprisingly, yes.
Mm-hmm.
The Gear Space boards were not as kind.
That's weird.
Well, it's really hit and
Says in
miss.
sarcasm. Yes.
What I find is when I send it to my friends in the business and they use it for a couple minutes, virtually all of them get back to me like, "Holy shit, bro! What the fuck did you do?" But
Yeah.
the typical people who are worried about their image and like, well, I could never pull this up in front of a client. Like, A, you don't have to. B,
Right.
I do time. And maybe it's just me, but I have no problem. I like it. I feel like keeping the sessions lighthearted. If a client, do you think a client would rather look at a plugin that looks like a bunch of gear or a plugin that's like interesting and creative? I think it really depends on the client. And if you're worried that much about it, then I never worry about those things in sessions, but I can,
Yeah. Yeah.
I certainly 100,000% built this plugin so that you have an opinion immediately. And in a very crowded market with a upstart plugin company like ours, it's hard to get noticed at all in any way. So if we have the most ridiculous looking interface on planet Earth and it also backs it up with great sound, then that was my hope for the winning combination for us. And I don't know why my camera won't start back up. I keep trying. But anyway, that's kind of my philosophy. So I totally get would you use it as a pro? I do every day. Every client I have here is I don't even think about it.
Yeah. I think as a user too, the benefit of not having numbers or any of that, like as you were turning the high pass and low pass, for example, there's obvious resonance going on in those filters that's not adjustable. It's a creative tool and it's there. Use your ears to dial it in, kind of a thing. I love that as you were going through.
Yeah, this is meant to be obvious and to get great quick choices fast, and that's what we got. Yeah, that's connected.
That's great.
I don't know why my camera is not reconnecting. Let me just unplug and replug in my camera, and maybe it'll come back.
And give it the old router test. Nice. So Kenneth says the market is saturated, no pun intended. So the market is dragon comped.
It is, and when you consider tiny little companies like mine have to go up against SoundWide with the weight of marketing power and distribution of a big network like that, Waves, Universal, SoundWide, those are our competitors. We're just trying to hang on for dear life. So
right, yeah, and have some fun on the way.
Exactly. But the great thing is, we don't have to get rich at this in order to keep going with this. We just have to, make sure that we get enough of these out there that we can build the next one and keep going and hopefully keep growing.
Yeah. SR1B also asks, are there any settings we can tweak under the hood? I don't see any attack, release, etc. On the interface.
Exactly. You're seeing under the hood.
Hmm.
No, this is designed for quick, easy results. This is not designed for super technical stuff like that. But the brilliance of this is, say you fire up a kick drum and you get it punching real well on the punch chain. You're like, okay, I'm liking this. This feels good. And then you go like, oh, well, Panda just solidifies that low end in a different way than Punch was. Well, that's interesting. And then Lol go, okay, that's a little more attacky and a little lighter on the low end, but it's louder overall and it's even, huh? And so all of a sudden, instead of having to think about all of these choices, they're done for you already in my chains. Um, so yeah, that's there's always other tools to use if you need to get down to those technical levels. This is designed to make you forget about those.
Yeah, be creative and have fun. Awesome. Very cool. So Ken, we talked last week when we were trying to do our first version of the stream about a session for people to try out with their demo. Can you tell us about that?
It's this one. Where am I going to post this? We're going to have to put that in a link as soon as the broadcast is done. And
Yeah.
I'll upload it to my Box account and I'll provide you a link. So I'm giving away
Awesome.
this session that I'm sitting here mixing for you guys. That's what you're asking about, right?
Yes. Yeah.
So we're going to give this Obscene Steelers losing game raw multi-track away. I'm going to give you my full LOL mix and a clean start from scratch on it as well. And because I know there's not a ton of like really great songs out there that you can just mix on a whim anytime you want and practice your skills. So you can use any plugin that you want on this, or you can mix using LOLCOMP the way I have. You can see what my settings are and get a feel for what the plugin is doing. And I think if we can add that to the description of your YouTube link as soon as we're done
Yeah.
broadcasting, people can just go get it and have fun.
Yeah.
And you get a 14-day trial of LOLCOMP at mixingnightaudio.com. Fully functional, doesn't zap out every 30 seconds or anything like that. It's the whole thing for 14 days. And I think last week, did I give you a product code that we could give a discount to your viewers?
Nope. We were talking about doing it for this week. So.
I have that. That's
Awesome.
going to be in the well. So
Awesome.
I
Yeah.
give you guys a big discount on LOLCOMP for anybody tuning into this. So I guess we'll put that in the description as well when we're done. Can we do
Amazing. Yeah, absolutely. Guys, give us about an hour after the stream, and if you want to come back and refresh, you'll see the download link and the discount code for LOLCOMP.
that? Yeah. By the time you have shared this with all of your friends, it will be up.
Nice. SR1B says, "Can we destroy the song as much as we like?"
100,000%. Do with it as you will.
Nice. Dragon on everything.
Have fun.
Awesome. All right. So I don't think we're going to get your camera back, unfortunately.
I don't know what's
but
up.
I
The
think we
temps
have
here.
done the thing. Yeah. Guys, also, I want to shout out to, so Ken's Mixing Night Audio is a super fun show to watch. Definitely recommend going and making sure that you check it out. Let's see if we can get Ken. I don't think that we're going to get his microphone back here, but
YouTube.com/mixing night. Set your alerts for the February 14th show, 8 to 10 p.m. Eastern. And if you missed the January 10th show, check out the January 10th show that we just had, which was Vocal Night. Man, I spent 2 hours dropping a ton of vocal knowledge. And if you don't know enough about my background, I've produced Ariana Grande, I've recorded her, Beyonce, Kanye, Usher, Diana Ross, Mary J. Blige, everybody on planet Earth. I know a lot
yeah.
about vocals. Share it all with you. So
Amazing. Yeah. Very cool. Yeah, so definitely check that out. And then you also have a podcast we should tell people about.
Invaders of the Lost Art. Yes, that's a YouTube right now. We're trying to get it out on the podcasting, whatever, however you do that. No, this is one I just show up for, which is great. You mixing that is my baby. But Faders of the Lost Art is 5 pro mixers. It's Dave Pensato, yep, me, Bob Horn, Nico Hamui, and Farid Salama, and it's basically 5 nerds talking about gear and plugins and techniques, and then we often have interesting guests, like Stephen Slade and Paul Wolf and John Murray Horvat, a bunch of heavy hitters. Oh yeah, it's a really great time, and so tune in for Faders of the Lost Art.
Nice. I have an April Fool's release edition idea for LOLCOMP. Are you ready for it? Okay, this is also a bit of a pop quiz. So if you pull LOLCOMP up on the screen here, let's see one of the interfaces. Oh, do you still have me? I may have lost him. Go back here. Oh, there you are. Nice. Can you hear me? Okay, you got it on screen. No, okay, all right. So here comes, yeah, this is the big setup for the joke. All right, so you have 5 slots up at the top, right?
Yeah.
And you've got Faders of the Lost Art, the podcast. So what if we could get each of your faces in the center of LOLCOMP and have a special release of that?
You're going with the, oh my, that's brilliant. Oh, I like it. I like
That'd be
that.
amazing. You have to find funny ways to distort your faces, maybe cartoon characters.
I'll be able to pull screen caps off of broadcasts. They won't even know it's coming.
Yeah. Surprise.
Man,
Awesome.
that's a brilliant. Love that. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay. One last question for you from SR1B. He asks, Ken, how many days a week do you dedicate to mixing? Also, how many hours per day does it take you to mix per song?
Well, I have the weirdest resume in the entire music industry, which encompasses a whole lot more than mixing. So it really depends what's on my plate. I've been producing a lot. So like last week, we did a lot of show prep for mixing night, and I produced an artist for a couple days, and I'm going to be, it varies every day. It really does. But I would say I probably end up doing about 200 to 300 mixes a year, stereo and or Atmos. And I probably produce, I don't know, 20 or 30 songs a year. And then I do, like, I get a lot of heavy hitter calls, like just designated hitter shit. Like Jack Antonoff might call me for something that he doesn't want to do and is, horribly time consuming, but he knows I'm a glutton for punishment and he can hand it off to me and I'll do it.
Nice.
So there's a lot of those things that get fed to me as well. And so for me, it's really every day is a different day. Every day is often a different genre. I'm producing a contemporary blues album right now. I'm producing a Yiddish Hebrew artist right now, which I've never done in my life, which is fascinating. There's a rock project on my plate. There's Obscene Stealers is always cooking up more. We got a couple hip hop tracks that we're developing for Obscene Stealers right now. So for me, it's just pivot left, pivot right. Where is the money? Where is the inspiration? And just figure it out every day.
Yeah, amazing.
And
awesome.
How long it takes per mix is, it really depends on the song. But for me, I'm a pretty fast mixer. So I would say the one that I remember vividly because I could track it, there was a BTS song called Hey Mama that was 179 tracks. And my friend was over from Amsterdam sitting in with me. And I mixed 7 hours straight Got it done in 7 hours, turned it in. There was one tiny mix revision from the guys, and that was it, and it went final. But that easily could have been a 16-hour mix. It's just sometimes you get in the zone and all of your decisions line up and make sense and help future decisions. And sometimes you kind of go down wrong paths and you got to back up and regroup. And, there is one of the toughest things to learn as a pro is where is the finish line and how do I get there? And how do I know when I'm there and to stop tweaking? And it's really hard to learn, but it's more practice and experience than anything else.
Awesome. Yeah. You talked about that mix on, I believe, on one of your episodes of Pensado's Place. Guys, if you haven't heard that one, definitely go check it out. It's pretty crazy.
I
mix,
think
so.
episode 516 or something like that on Pensado's.
Nice. Yeah.
But I've mixed like 47 or 48 or 49 BTS songs by now. I don't know. It's been a lot. I've been working with them since nobody knew who the fuck BTS was. And, great honor of my career.
Yeah. Awesome. Cool. Ken, thanks so much. Thanks for, working with us through the tech problems and all that. And, thanks for showing us the plugin today. It's amazing.
Time, man. And any way I can help the Puremix guys, you just tap me in and let me know. Awesome. Community.
Cool. Yeah, it's amazing. Guys, so check in a little bit here. We're going to update the YouTube description on this video with the promo code for LOLCOMP, as well as the link to download the session from Obscene Steelers for you guys to try out. So cool. I think we did the thing.
All right.
Awesome. All right. Thanks again, Ken. Guys, we'll see you on the next one. Thank you so much for watching.
Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.